Why people commit suicide. Suicide is a deeply complex and tragic act that often stems from intense emotional pain and psychological distress. People may consider or attempt suicide when they feel overwhelmed by hopelessness, loneliness, or a sense of being a burden to others. While every case is unique, common reasons include mental health disorders like depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder, traumatic life experiences, social isolation, substance abuse, financial stress, and chronic illness. Many individuals who die by suicide do not necessarily want to end their lives, but rather want to escape unbearable suffering. The inability to see a way out of their pain or problems can lead them to believe that death is the only option. Understanding the causes of suicide is critical to prevention, as it allows society to recognize warning signs, reduce stigma, and offer support to those who are struggling. By fostering empathy, awareness, and access to mental health resources, we can take meaningful steps towards saving lives and promoting emotional well-being.
Let's talk about something most people are afraid to even whisper about, something that carries a heavy weight of misunderstanding and fear. It's a topic often relegated to the shadows, spoken about in hushed tones, if at all: suicide. The very word can feel like a punch to the gut, evoking feelings of sadness, confusion, and even anger. It's a word that many shy away from, preferring to ignore the uncomfortable reality it represents. This isn't a distant problem, a far-off tragedy that only affects other people. It's a silent epidemic affecting our neighbors, the people we see every day, the faces we recognize in our community. It's closer than we think, and more prevalent than we dare to acknowledge. Co-workers, the individuals we share our professional lives with, spending countless hours together striving towards common goals, and families, the very foundation of our society, the people we love and cherish most, are not immune to this silent struggle. Every statistic is a real person, a unique individual with their own story, their own hopes, and their own dreams. A person who felt so much pain, so much despair, that they saw no other way out, no other solution to the overwhelming darkness they were experiencing. Yet, we meet this crisis with silence and stigma, perpetuating a cycle of shame and isolation that only exacerbates the problem. Stigma is just shame and judgment, a societal construct that unfairly labels and ostracizes those who are already suffering. Attached to what we don't understand, fueled by misinformation and a lack of empathy. People struggling with suicidal thoughts often feel they can't speak up, trapped in a prison of their own making, afraid to reach out for help, fearing they'll be seen as weak or just seeking attention, dismissed as dramatic or unstable, rather than receiving the compassion and support they desperately need. This silence is dangerous. It allows the darkness to fester and grow, unchecked and unchallenged. It isolates people when they need connection most, pushing them further into the depths of despair and making it even harder to find a path back to the light. Thinking about suicide isn't a character flaw or weakness. It's not a sign of moral failing or personal inadequacy. It's a sign of overwhelming pain, a desperate cry for help from someone who feels trapped and hopeless. We need to treat mental pain with the same urgency as physical pain, recognizing that both are equally valid and deserving of care and attention. It's time to change the narrative from shame to support and hope, to create a culture where people feel safe and empowered to seek help without fear of judgment. In this video, we'll pull back the curtain on the psychology, exploring the complex factors that contribute to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Biology, examining the role of genetics and brain chemistry in mental health. And life circumstances, understanding how trauma, stress, and adversity can impact a person's mental well-being. That can lead someone to this dark place where they feel like there's no escape and no hope for the future. We'll talk about what works, the evidence-based treatments and interventions that can help people overcome suicidal thoughts and find a path towards recovery. Prevention, strategies for identifying and addressing risk factors before a crisis occurs. Intervention, how to effectively respond when someone is in immediate danger and needs urgent help. And how each of us can help by becoming more informed, more compassionate, and more willing to reach out to those who are struggling. It's time to get informed, to educate ourselves about the realities of suicide and mental health, get engaged, to participate in conversations, challenge stigma, and advocate for change, and start saving lives by offering support, showing compassion, and connecting people with the resources they need. Let's break the silence, shatter the stigma, and create a world where everyone feels safe to ask for help. Let's begin together to build a brighter future, filled with hope, healing, and connection. The battle with suicide often starts in the mind, a silent struggle waged within the confines of our own thoughts. It's a complex interplay of emotions, experiences, and sometimes underlying conditions that can lead a person to feel overwhelmed and trapped. Depression is the #1 culprit, casting a dark shadow over every aspect of life. It's more than just a fleeting feeling of sadness. It's a persistent and pervasive state of despair. Not just sadness, but a crushing hopelessness that drains all joy, leaving behind an emptiness that seems impossible to fill. It robs individuals of their energy, their motivation, and their ability to experience pleasure. In that darkness, your brain lies to you, twisting perceptions and distorting reality. It whispers insidious doubts and amplifies negative thoughts, saying you're worthless and things will never improve. It convinces you that you're a burden to others and that there's no way out of the pain. Trauma is another driver, a deeply impactful experience that can reshape the way a person perceives the world and themselves. Abuse, violence, leaving lasting emotional and psychological wounds that can be difficult to heal. Or loss can leave deep invisible scars, altering the course of a person's life and creating a sense of profound grief. Other mental health conditions, often misunderstood and stigmatized, can significantly increase the risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Like bipolar disorder or psychosis, can wreak havoc on a person's emotional state and cognitive abilities, can make emotions volatile and reality distorted, leading to feelings of isolation and despair. Substance abuse often enters the picture as a way to numb pain, providing temporary relief from overwhelming emotions, but it only makes things worse, increasing impulsivity and risk, and further damaging mental and physical health. These aren't choices. They're symptoms of real illnesses, complex and multifaceted conditions that require professional help. When pain feels inescapable and there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel, suicide can seem like the only way out, a desperate attempt to find peace from unbearable suffering. But these conditions are treatable, and help is possible. Recovery is within reach, and there are people who care and want to support you. Understanding what's happening inside the mind, recognizing the signs and symptoms of mental health challenges, is the first step to compassion, breaking down stigma, and creating a more supportive and understanding community. No one should have to fight this battle alone. Reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. There is hope, recovery is possible, and a brighter future awaits. Is suicide in our genes? Biology and genetics do play a role, but they don't dictate destiny. Suicide can run in families not as fate, but as increased vulnerability to mental health conditions. Brain chemicals like serotonin regulate mood and impulse control. When out of balance, they can increase risk. Medication can help correct these imbalances, giving people a foundation for recovery. This isn't about excuses, it's about recognizing real physical factors at play. Mental health conditions are medical issues, not moral failings. Understanding the biology helps us fight stigma and get people the care they need. Compassion and treatment save lives. It's not just what's inside, it's the world around us. Financial crises, job loss, or overwhelming debt can create deep shame and hopelessness. Relationship breakdowns, isolation, and loss of support can leave people feeling utterly alone. Academic and work pressures, bullying, or toxic environments can erode self-esteem. Chronic illness or pain can make the future seem unbearable. When external pressures pile up, coping can feel impossible. We must recognize these stresses and offer support before it's too late. Surviving a suicide attempt is not the end, it's the start of a difficult journey. Physical injuries may linger, but the emotional aftermath is often even harder. Survivors face shame, guilt, and the same problems that led them to the brink. Stigma and isolation can make reintegration tough. A past attempt is the strongest risk factor for another. Immediate, ongoing support is vital. Recovery requires therapy, medication, and a strong support system. Healing is possible, but it takes time and compassion. No one should walk this road alone. When someone dies by suicide, the pain ripples outward. Survivors, family and friends face a unique, complicated grief. Guilt, anger, and endless what-ifs haunt them. Stigma often leaves them isolated, just when they need support most. They may feel ashamed or judged, compounding their pain. Survivors are at higher risk for depression and even suicide themselves. They need specialized support, understanding, and a community that allows honest grieving. We must care for those left behind. Suicide is a serious issue, and prevention starts with awareness. To prevent suicide, we must recognize the warning signs. These signs aren't always obvious, but understanding them can be life-saving. Verbal cues, talking about wanting to die, even if it seems like a passing comment, should never be dismissed. Feeling hopeless, like there's no way out of a difficult situation, is a significant indicator of distress. Expressing feelings of being a burden, believing that others would be better off without them, should always be taken seriously and addressed with empathy. Behavioral changes like withdrawal from friends, family, and activities they once enjoyed, reckless actions such as increased substance use or dangerous driving, or giving away possessions as if preparing for an ending, are red flags that require immediate attention. Sudden mood improvements after deep depression, while seemingly positive, can signal a dangerous decision, indicating they may have made up their mind to attempt suicide. Watch for extreme mood swings, from intense sadness to unexplained anger, anxiety, especially if it's new or escalating, or preoccupation with death. Constantly thinking or talking about it are all cause for concern. Searching for methods or acquiring means, such as stockpiling pills or obtaining a weapon, is a sign of active planning and requires immediate intervention. Major life stresses, loss of a loved one, illness, particularly chronic or terminal conditions, or anniversaries of trauma, can trigger crises and intensify suicidal thoughts. Don't assume someone is okay just because they say so. Often, people hide their true feelings. Check in, ask directly about their feelings, and if they're having thoughts of suicide, and listen without judgment, offering a safe space for them to express themselves. Recognizing these signs is the first step to saving a life, and it empowers you to take action. Your attention and care can make all the difference in someone's life, providing hope and support when they need it most. Be vigilant, be compassionate, and be proactive in reaching out to those who may be struggling. We all have a role to play in preventing suicide and creating a supportive community. Don't wait. Reach out, offer support, and connect them with professional help if needed. Knowing the signs is just the start. Action saves lives. Start the conversation. Ask directly. Are you thinking about suicide? You won't put the idea in their head. You'll open a door. If the answer is yes, get professional help immediately. Therapy and medication can be life-changing. Cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavior therapy teach real skills for coping and recovery. Medication can stabilize brain chemistry, making healing possible. Create a safety plan, remove means of self-harm, and have crisis contacts ready. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is always available. Prevention also means building supportive communities and reducing stigma. Education, connection, and access to care are essential. We all have a part in creating a safety net. Together we can save lives. We've talked about pain, risk, and loss, but also about hope. Suicide is preventable, and hope is something we can create together. Empathy and honest conversation are our most powerful tools. Let's make it normal to talk about mental health, just like physical health. Check in on your loved ones, ask how they're really doing, and listen. Vulnerability is courage, not weakness. Recovery isn't a straight line, but healing is possible. With help and support, people do get better. If you're struggling, your life has value, and help is available. You are not alone. If you know someone who's struggling, reach out. Be the light in their darkness. Let's choose compassion, conversation, and hope. Together, we can make a difference.
And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more mind-blowing psychology videos.